Good morning. I have a degree from an American university, so I feel I can really state how absolutely appalling it is for me to hear what Dr. Phil has pointed out, the situation that's going on at the universities, at the Ivy League universities all across the USA. It is inexcusable and it is what I call insanity. There's no logic. And instead of teaching critical thinking, they're teaching fashionable thinking. They don't even check the facts. And they have slogans and they terrorize Jewish students. And let's face the facts. How many Palestinians are in research, in art, in music, in film industry, literature? How many? How many that we need to defend them as if they're like a unique people that have contributed so much to humanity? From what I can see, they contributed terrorism to humanity. And the fact that there are lecturers at the university that are following fashions instead of critical thinking, instead of facts, is absolutely disgusting, because you could see a blind hate, not unlike the hate there was in Nazi Germany, where it started at not only the beer sellers of Munich, but at the universities. At the universities, this is where it started. And here's Dr. Phil.
On Israeli civilians by Hamas gunmen on October 7 was marked by murder, rape, torture, and kidnapping. On the bloodiest day in the country's 75-year history, an estimated 1,300 were killed, over 3,300 wounded, and approximately 150 Israelis were taken hostage. Kars Ray, a fellow with the Jewish Leadership Project, stated, "This is the greatest loss of Jewish life in a single day since the Holocaust."
All these people in the cars were
Hamas
shot.
invaders were not soldiers, they were assassins.
Exactly.
The Hamas charter calls for the ultimate annihilation of all Israeli Jews, followed by the annihilation of Jews around the world.
So when you say, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be free, it means kill all the Jews, kill all the Jews, kill all the Jews, because I'm a racist Nazi. That's what it means. So if you say that slogan, this is who you are. And you don't have shame. I just think you should shut up and you should be in prison or deported. I don't think anybody that says kill the Jews should be allowed to say that. It's not freedom of speech. It's freedom of terror. And after 9/11, you guys should really know better.
Sound familiar? Sadly, some people, including some right here in America, actually celebrated the slaughter and blamed those being murdered, raped, and
The
kidnapped.
Zionists ignited the fire.
Many of America's most respected elite universities are not only indulging, but actually endorsing sanctioned student organizations holding celebrations for the murders.
Because the Palestinians contribute so much to university. They contribute so much knowledge to the world. Or let's look at how many Nobel Prizes they won. Like zero contribution to society. 2 billion people that have nothing to contribute by terrorism. Yes, maybe here and there's some people that are like, I don't know, but most of them are a bunch of swamp barbaric beasts that contribute nothing but terrorism, beheading people. And we're not talking about Jews. In the attack, there were people that are Buddhist, Christian, and Muslims too. They killed Arab Jews. They killed Arab Muslims. They killed Bedouins. They killed animals. What religion does animal have? What religion did the cows they shot in the head? 400 cows they shot in a kibbutz. And dogs. Did the dogs also have a religion? What about the people there? Isn't there one person demonstrating there that likes animals? How come they shot every animal they saw? So is that a Jew too?
Harvard, Yale,
Harvard,
Georgetown,
shame.
UCLA, and Stanford are high-profile examples that should raise concern, if not outrage. These student organizations' reactions to the Hamas attack revealed a disturbing degree of ivy-covered intellectual rot.
Exactly.
Americans nationwide have been appalled and shocked. The leadership of these supposedly highly sophisticated schools
disgusting.
are so busy virtue signaling and coddling students who think that work.
In an ideal world, there would be masses protecting the Jews who contribute All the courses, I want to see one freaking course at the university that condemns, ban all the Jews, ban in the literature, in history, ban the Jews and see what you have. You have no Russian Revolution. You have no literature. Just take out all the Jews. You don't have history. You don't have literature. You don't have music. You have complete zero. Film, everything. Do a university course banning Jews. That's what I'd like to see.
Words are violence, but violence, horrific, inhumane violence, is social justice. That they have forgotten it is their job to teach their students to think.
Exactly.
And to test reality.
Exactly.
Instead of training tomorrow's leaders, they are profoundly demagnetizing our culture's moral compass.
Apartheid. There's 25% Arabs. How many Arabs are there? How many Jews are there in Gaza? Zero. Again, zero. 0% Jews except the ones they kidnapped at gunpoint. So who's apartheid exactly? The whole area of the Middle East is Muslim. How come not one country, one country took one Palestinian child? One. And you, the masses, you are defending barbaric people. It's a waste of money. I would say save the money. Don't go to university and work in freaking McDonald's where you will be facing a guy like the one in England where he released mice in McDonald's, which he spray painted in the colors of the Palestinian flag. Work in McDonald's. Save the money. Don't go to university if all you can do is follow a stupid fashion and not even check the facts.
Among the college population. Senator Cory Booker commented recently that there was a time we took pride in calling out bad behavior and bad actors, calling evil evil and hatred hatred. Martin Luther King Jr. said we suffer not just from the vitriol and violence of our enemies, but from the appalling silence and inaction of the good people.
How many PLO, whatever frickin' you call them, were marching with Dr. Luther King? Zero. They were actually the slave traders, the Arabs. And how many Jews? They were Jews that sacrificed their life for the civil rights movement in the South. And Martin Luther King was the most enthusiastic Zionist, which is so sad when I see an African American not realizing that Islam Nation doesn't represent the beautiful values of Martin Luther King. He was a Zionist because he believed that just like the African Americans need to be liberated from oppression and slavery, so do the children of Israel have to go back to their land and liberate it from all the occupiers. Yes, the occupiers are the Muslims and whoever occupied the land, not the Jews who went back to their historical homeland.
I'm no expert in geopolitics, but I don't need to be to immediately denounce the actions of Hamas as utterly sick, twisted, disgusting, and inexcusable.
Exactly.
Staying fully in my lane of analyzing human behavior, I will amplify some things I know for sure. I know for sure the atrocities and ensuing celebrations committed by Hamas are inexcusable and unjustifiable. These are not the acts of honorable soldiers, freedom fighters, or militants.
Exactly.
From a psychological standpoint, I can't help but wonder what these assassins say to themselves alone in the middle of the night after murdering a terrified and defenseless little baby boy or girl. Have they bothered to think about how many of their own children they have destined to be sacrificed in the retaliation that is certain to follow? Retaliation.
They don't even have one bomb shelter. One. They have tunnels, terror tunnels which they save free from children. Like their kids don't go to the terror tunnels because they need it to be free so the terrorists can go in and out. Basically, the terrorists are not holding Israelis hostages. They're also holding, by the way, foreigners like Thai people and other foreigners hostage, but they're holding their own children and women. So people that blame Israel are completely ignorant. They're completely ignorant of the facts that Hamas is holding these people, the Palestinian people, as hostages. And they are happy. The more children dead, the happier they are. And these are Palestinian children. They want that. That's why they put their rocket launchers next to children. They use them as human shields. I cannot say it enough. And I'm surprised that there's not one person in academia that says enough is enough.
Hamas have brought down on the Gazans, Palestinians. I know for sure that allowing the university-sanctioned organizations to celebrate the sadistic acts of terror without consequence confirms these enlightened woke universities are failing miserably in shaping, educating, maturing the minds of those students. It is the educator's job to teach critical thinking that will lead to rational response, a skill set in short supply in today's world.
Well, you have people like Noam Chomsky, the Nazi. So he's Jewish, but that doesn't mean he's not a Nazi. You have, to name a few, you have this doctor who's also quite popular, and he uses the Holocaust because his parents were in the Holocaust. Dr. Mate, who is, oh, the Palestinians have such a bad condition. Really? They go to work in Israel, and then they take photos, map out the homes of their employers, and then they go and murder and massacre and torture them and abuse them. Is this, sounds to you like rational people you support?
Perhaps such training on how to think would have led these students and their organizations to realize they are not actually supporting Palestinians and Gazans when they are supporting Hamas.
Exactly.
Hamas are not even Palestinians.
Exactly.
You cannot negotiate with people whose only acceptable outcome is to murder you and your entire race.
Exactly.
Seriously, have some of these people gotten together and collectively lost their minds? We know right from wrong, and we must stand up for what we believe and know is right.
Do you know that Israeli doctors saved the life of the man who's the head of the Hamas? He was a prisoner in Israel, and he had a brain tumor, and they actually operated. I think probably he has some sort of a brain disease that causes him to be so vicious. And by the way, did you know that the terrorists were on amphetamines, much like the Nazis? The Nazis, it was known they took drugs in order to do all these atrocities, because no human being can kill babies and massacre pregnant women and rape and just kill people at gunpoint at like close range without being on drugs, because it's just not possible to do all those acts of murder without being on drugs.
We must call out these institutions. How is any of this acceptable to anyone? How is it not recognized as incredibly racist? How do elite educators not recognize this is a huge teachable moment in these students' journey?
Exactly.
The heads of these schools need to simply say, on this campus, we don't celebrate racism, anti-Semitism, baby killing, and murdering.
Jewish students have to hide in a library, barricaded, because they're going to be harmed. They're going to be beaten up. This is completely inexcusable, unjustified, and disgusting. And that's not academia, it's barbaric. It's barbaria, it's not academia.
What they are doing instead is distancing themselves in hopes it blows over.
Exactly.
Israel is our friend and ally. They don't need us to just be their friend in good times. They need us to be their friend in bad times, to be their friend when it is easier not to be. Good friends are the ones coming in the door when everyone else is going out. This is a really great time to show Israel and the world who we are.
Exactly. It's not a political thing. And Dr. Phil is a very brave man. He just says things as they are. And I think that's why I stopped trusting psychologists, because they supposedly give you advice that is neutral, and you can't be neutral because there is a right and a wrong. And anybody that says they're neutral is choosing the bad side. There's no neutrality. You must make a stand when you see people abusing freedom of speech and forgetting 9/11. How quickly, by the way, very quickly, they also blame the Jews for 9/11. They blame everything on the Jews, where it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's no logic in blaming Jews for everything. And at the same time, anything you study at the university has Jewish people contributing, whether it's science, literature, art, music, film, every field Jews have contributed. Jews are 0.02% of the population, have 20% of Nobel Prizes and countless contributions, where the Muslims are 20% of the world population and contributed. Yes, thank you. And if you're a Muslim watching this and you feel that this is anti-Muslim, it's not anti-Muslim, but I'm anti-people following fads, following fashions, and I really want to know if the extreme Muslims are only 25%, and that's like hundreds of millions, where is this silent majority speaking? If you say that according to Islam, it's not allowed to murder, it's not allowed to rape, it's not allowed to kill, you're not allowed to kill, then why are you not speaking out against what's happening? Where are the Muslims speaking out? And how come the West takes them, but not one country in the Middle East wants one Palestinian child even? The Queen of Jordan is crying so much, crocodile tears. Not one Palestinian child would she take. Jordan says no, Egypt says no, because none of the Arab countries want terrorists. They don't want terrorists and extremists because they don't want their country to look like what's happening in Israel. No sane country does. But the West has lost its mind because it's fed a narrative that these are poor people that don't have anything to eat. Yes, that's because the Hamas steals all the money, the humanitarian aid is given to them. And if there's a ceasefire now, all they're going to do is get more rockets, as if we don't have enough rockets flying over our heads on a daily basis. Yes, every day we have rockets here, every day, and I'm in the center of Israel. And in the south, it's unbearable. We're a very small country, we had to evacuate. We had to evacuate people from the north. Now it's a new front of terrorists from the north. We have terrorists from the south, because terrorists, they feel that the world is with them. So make a stand against Israel, because if you don't make a stand against Israel, you will be a victim of terrorism. No doubt, if not you, your children, or the next generation. The world must speak up the way we fought the Nazis, not we, but the world. It's the same sort of ideology, racist, anti-Semitic ideology that celebrates and glorifies murder and killing. It's time to speak up, people, and listen to Dr. Phil, because he is a man with he has moral standards, and you cannot be neutral in this situation. Silence means complacency, that you are agreeing, compliance.